question to get through. We're going to be covering IQ, SQ, and EQ, which is your academic skills, your spiritual intelligence, and your emotional intelligence tonight. I'm going to ask you to make sure that if you have any questions, pop it into the QA functionality. Next week, Monday, is session 2 of Foundational Personal Mastery. So again, 5:30 to 8. We will go through the other quotients, which is PQ, FQ, and ProQ. We will then also take you through the portfolio of evidence. Personal mastery works slightly differently, so we will take you through that as well. And these are your quotients. We will go through a journey, a 6-month journey with you for personal mastery. We will help you set SMART goals. We will help you, we will explain to you what each of these quotients mean, going through highlights of this. There is content, there is a lot of content on ReGenesys that you can work through at your own time. What we are doing is we're giving you highlights. We're giving you the important things that you need to kickstart your journey. But I do encourage all of you to take this journey seriously. It is transformative. It will awaken your potential. It will assist you in just being a fuller person. I'm going to just swap over views. So Lee, I'm no longer being able to see what is in the Q&A. So you'll have to just turn your mic off and shout, or Lisa, let me know if there's an issue. But what I want to do, first of all, is explain what personal mastery is. So I went through it very quickly on Saturday, and you probably had an information overload on Saturday. So what is personal mastery and why is it important? It's a continuous learning journey. It means mastering areas of you and how to grow. So your IQ, your EQ, your SQ, your PQ, your ProQ, your FQ. We will keep talking about these different quotients with you all the time. And everyone is different. Everyone is unique. So you will have different areas in which you wish to grow. You might be the perfect academic student, but you feel that perhaps your physical quotient needs working on. You could be healthier, you could be faster you run 5Ks, you run marathons. You'd like to be able to run a marathon, you'd like to be able to walk 5Ks. All of these things, we will go on this journey with you and help you continuously improve yourself. So really, personal mastery, you will only get out as much as you put in. If you take this journey seriously and put in the work, you will see a transformation in 6 months' time. And we ask you to document your transformation so that by the end of this whole journey, you're able to write a reflective essay, which is part of your portfolio of evidence, which I'll explain more tomorrow night. And you're able to just do so much more. It's a commitment to learning. It's a commitment to growth. And it's a commitment to self-discovery. But this commitment is not to ReGenesys. It's not to me or to Lisa or to any of your fellow students. This commitment is a commitment to yourself. It's a commitment to you wanting to be the best version of you. And that's what this journey is about. So Dr. Marco, whom you met on Saturday, had a beautiful quote. If you want to get a job, you will need IQ or knowledge or skills. That's why you're studying at ReGenesys. If you want to become a manager, you will need emotional intelligence, absolutely, art of negotiation, how to read people, how to influence people. If you want to become a leader, you will need spiritual intelligence, which is SQ, and you will need to live a life of purpose. So tonight we're covering IQ, EQ, and SQ. And we're going to kick this off. We want you to be able to have problem-solving skills. We want you to be able to think out of the box, to think creatively and logically, analyze a problem and try and solve it. We want you to have critical thinking skills. When we talk about robots taking over our jobs or doing automated tasks, and a lot of jobs will be lost, these two skills, problem-solving and critical thinking, are probably the skills that will set you apart so that your job won't be taken over by the robots. These two skills will help you be able to work with those robots that are automating mundane tasks. We don't need the same way a calculator, the computer took over the job of a calculator. Now your cell phone has the processing power of a computer, can do the same thing that your laptop can do so much more, and it's all in the palm of your hands. So we want you to learn how to think critically and to problem solve in a unique manner. I'm going to go back to information literacy. I spoke to you on Saturday about why the resource center was important. And I alluded to a little to regarding EQ, around why information literacy was so important. And what is information literacy? Well, it's literally the ability to locate, evaluate, and discern information effectively that goes beyond just absorbing information. Can you see what is fake news? Can you see what is an article that has been published? Is it worth reading? But it goes a little bit more than just information sorting and analyzing. Your emotional intelligence actually has a direct link to with information literacy, because it builds self-awareness. You need to understand bias and perspective. As you get this information overload, can you discern that there is a bias? Can you discern that you yourself may have a bias, and look at the different perspectives? You need perspective in order to formulate a well-rounded argument. And it's a reflective practice. So the more I read, the more I digest, the more I reflect on perhaps my opinion on a certain subject has changed. This is all about growing your emotional intelligence. It also teaches you self-management, because your research and organizational skills will develop the more you research, the more information you come across. It also teaches you resilience, because you may try and find something and may come against brick walls time and time again. And on the 11th or 100th time that you're trying to find something, you might find it. So resilience is extremely important in your studies. You really need to maintain that grit, maintain that air of grit, and keep going at it. Try and try again. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. You're also taught self-awareness and relationship skills when going through this quagmire of information. You need to be able to go, well, I differ in your opinion, so how do we come to a consensus? So developing those relationship skills, developing people that you can lean on. Lisa spoke about the 7 C's of student success on Saturday: communicating, collaborating, and forming that community will help you in your research. And all of this should lead to responsible decision making, allowing you to have that critical thinking skills to synthesize the information. It's the key to be informed, having informed decision making. And then most importantly, with great power comes great responsibility. For all those Spider-Man fans out there, how do we use information ethically? How do we give people their due dues when writing them about them, or using their words, or quoting them, or quoting their ideas? Can we use information ethically as a student? I will be sharing these slides on ReGenesys, so not to worry about that. And just again, Tembi is your lifeline for the library and the resource center. So in terms of textbooks that you need to purchase, in terms of finding your research, if you're struggling with research, where you need to go and find all of this. I did show on Saturday as well the Emerald and EBSCO databases, where you can find this information, go and do research, and you can get access to textbooks as well as to online journals. If you look on, okay, now I'm going to turn this side. If you look on the left-hand navigation panel of ReGenesys, you will come across Emerald and EBSCO at the bottom, where it says academic resources. You have to join Emerald and EBSCO via ReGenesys. so that it recognizes that you are a ReGenesys student and you're able to pick all of that up. Okay, I'm going to pause for 2 seconds and just check if are there any questions before we move on. Lee, any burning questions?
Not currently, Melissa, just normal general questions, which we're good with.
Perfect. All right. I
Lisa,
just saw something now.
Sorry, it's Lisa. Before you go, I'm just going to say a few words, Melissa, because you can't see the chat.
Hold up, let me bring you across, and then
I'm across.
everyone can see you.
There. Good evening, everyone. And some of you are here from last year, from 2024. Welcome. If you joined ReGenesys in October of 2024, you are also supposed to be here tonight because you are part of this orientation and part of this personal mastery. So we haven't forgotten you. If you are in what we called cycle 2, there seems to be a little bit of confusion. You don't have to attend tonight. You are more than welcome to be here. The more the merrier, as we say. You should have heard the majority of this stuff in your other sessions. But if you would like a refresher, please continue to join us. But you will get a separate email, and you have been given an extension on your submission of your portfolio of evidence. Melissa will speak tonight to all the students who are new January, brand 2025. You've come in alive. We welcome you. So just give us a few moments. Personal mastery is a very unique module. As we go in, we give you more and more. Listen carefully. We love your questions, but it's different. So that's why you need to pay attention. Leave the question and answers for a few seconds so you can incorporate everything we're trying to explain to you. And right now, what Melissa's showing you, there might have been some of you that missed Saturday. It's okay. We're also giving you a refresher, a very quick synopsis what happened on Saturday. You haven't missed anything. Okay, so deep breath, release, calm. This is a safe space. We like to have fun here. So I'm going to hand it back over to Melissa. So don't worry. Okay, so listen carefully. And if you follow what Melissa says, you will get so much out of it and there won't be any hassles. So have a good evening. I'm going to give it back over to Melissa.
Thanks, Lisa. I think that answers then the question about how do I know which intake I am part of? So just to repeat there, if you came to ReGenesys last year, October, you're known as intake 5. But for personal mastery, you will always look at cycle 3. That is your cycle. If you're a brand new student, you started in January, you came to orientation this past Saturday, you are also part of cycle 3. And you're all, hopefully in this with me now, you are all undergraduate students. If you are a postgraduate student, as in doing a PDBM or PDPM, your class is on a Wednesday. If you are an MBA student or an MPM student, your class is on Thursday. So I should only have undergraduate students either intake 5, that's October 2024, or intake 1 of 2025 January students in this class. You're, like Lisa said, you're more than welcome to stay on. The more the merrier, but I am going to carry on and power through because we have a lot to get through tonight. So let me get back to my slide. Present view. Right. You will see something called a personal, whoopsie, way too much there. There we go. You will see something called a personal development plan, or POE as we affectionately call it, right? Personal mastery works very differently from any of your other subjects. All your subjects go by semester. You do the subject, you're done with it, you move on. For personal mastery, you are on this journey for 6 months. And the reason why is because it takes a long time to form a habit. It takes an even longer time to break a bad habit. And your personal mastery journey will ask you to either break a bad habit you might want to stop drinking fizzy drinks. You might want to quit smoking. You might want to start a good habit, such as exercising or drinking more water. Or to start saving. You want to start saving and budgeting, saving for that December goal. That December sounds so far, far away, but it'll catch up like this. So you might want to start saving for something in December. Your personal development plan. We start off, we give you everything to do with the quotients, we explain the personal mastery journey, and then you will create a personal development plan. You will identify your weaknesses in each quotient, your strengths of each quotient. You will then set out SMART goals, which Lisa's going to cover tonight. What are SMART goals? You're then going to identify activities to help you achieve those SMART goals. And you're going to take evidence of you undertaking those activities. And all those elements form what we call your POE, your personal development plan, or your portfolio of evidence. All right. Now, your quotients, again, IQ, SQ, EQ, that's what's being covered this evening. PQ, FQ, and ProQ, which we will cover next week. All right, what I am going to do is switch my camera off so that I can look at the other screen and you're not looking at my ear. So, where did the time go? Well, we often ask ourselves this question. When you try and track and track your time, we often have what we call time stealers throughout the day. And we need to look for opportunities to redistribute or align, redistribute our time and align ourselves with our interests, with our goals, and with our values. Have you ever gone onto social media or on your phone and you're scrolling through TikTok and the next thing you know, an hour has gone by and you go, where did the time go? Or you were doing something and you realize, oh, I've lost time. I've been totally distracted. Where did the time go? And we will often find time stealers around us. I call them time stealers, things like social media, games on your phones, watching TV. And I call them rabbit holes. We go down these rabbit holes of looking at something and then we realize, shoot, I should have been studying. I should have been working on my assignment. I should have been going over my coursework. So what we should be doing is categorizing our activities. We should look at what we need to do for work. If we are traveling, so if we take public transport and we sit in traffic every day, we should look at how much time you spend with your family. Often we are working and we have family responsibilities, and then we also need to have me time. When do you spend time on yourself in terms of exercise, in terms of recharging, giving yourself a time out, socializing? So tracking time is very similar to tracking your expenses. You need to be aware of where your time stealers are, and if you're being sucked into that rabbit hole of time stealers, and cutting that bad habit. Track your time and have a look and see, where is my time going? And then reallocating, and it's all about prioritizing. If we prioritize what is important to us, and we often have competing things of importance. So your family, your work, your studies, they're all competing for your time, and you need to prioritize when, at what time do I work? If you are a morning person, if you have the most energy in the morning, wake up 1 hour earlier and use that time to study. Use that time to exercise. Use that time to recharge yourself. All right. If you're like me and you're a night owl, so at only after 1 o'clock in the morning do you really wake up and start going, use that quiet time at 1 o'clock in the morning and fit in an hour of study, or fit in an hour to work on your assignment, or whatever it is. Time management really is a skill, and the more you practice that skill, the more you prioritize, the more you track your time, the more you'll be able to allocate your time correctly. So which responsibilities are most important? Which responsibilities are most urgent? Rank your activities by urgency and importance so that you can stay focused on things that matter. So, like I said, time management is a continual process. It's not a one-time thing. You need to continuously make sure that you are spending your time wisely, and also be realistic. Is it possible that that you'll feel burnt out after 4 hours of deep work? Of course, you cannot actually physically concentrate. Your brain cannot process and physically concentrate well without a break. You need to give yourselves 5-minute breaks, 40 or an hour of hard studying and work, and a quick 5 or 10-minute break to stretch your body as well, to refresh, maybe get up, walk around, have a glass of water, and then come back. When you're scheduling meetings, try not to have back-to-back meetings. Give yourself a 10 or 15-minute buffer between meetings. Another thing to be realistic about, if you're scheduled an hour to read through a chapter in your study guide, for example, or the textbook, and you discover that that chapter is over 60 pages, is it realistic for you to read 60 pages in 1 hour and absorb what you've read? Okay, so having a schedule is really important, and it needs to be realistic. Effective scheduling requires you to be consistent, focused, and realistic. Make a regular habit of scheduling. Sit down on maybe a Sunday evening and track what you're doing for the rest of the week. Put in blocks of time to study, blocks of time for family, blocks of time for self-care. Make sure that your schedule has your limitations and your constraints in mind. If you are stuck in an hour of traffic every day, traveling to and from work or from school, use that time effectively. Maybe listen to your class recordings during that time. If you, like me, and absolutely hate ironing, play your class recording in the background while you're doing your ironing or while you're doing simple chores at home. Listen as well as watch your class recordings over again. Okay. The most successful people make a regular habit of analyzing their time, prioritizing their tasks, and creating a schedule for their day or week. And we want to encourage you to get into the habit of scheduling. So for those of you who don't make use of a scheduler, we have on ReGenesys under ACE, Learning Tools for Success. There's a really nice section in there about how to schedule and how to make a study schedule and how to make best use of your time. And we also go through scheduling and time management in the content that you'll see on ReGenesys for personal mastery. Okay, I'm going to go through another section now, which is really important. And that's how to answer assignment questions. I think most people go, that's probably the most important thing I need to answer. So we're going to give you a cheat sheet almost on how to effectively answer assignment questions. First of all, you need to look at the task. What is the question asking me to do? And here's a little tip. In every question, in every assignment question, in every exam question, there is something called a doing word. It tells you, the task tells you what we want from you. And it all comes, most of those questions come from something called Bloom's taxonomy. And I'm going to go over that now. But your question, you should be able to break down what content should I focus on? You need to find the content or the context of the question. And you need to make sure that you only include relevant information. So look for keywords in the question that indicate the parameters of your question. Now, what is this Bloom's taxonomy that we talk about? Every facilitator is trained in Bloom's taxonomy. And depending on the level that you're at, we ask you to do certain things. In terms of remembering, we want you to recall facts and basic concepts. So we'll ask you questions with the word define, or duplicate, or list, or memorize, or repeat, or state. But it's not, it's all very well to remember something, a parrot to learn something, but do you understand what you've read or what you've memorized? So we ask you questions like classify or describe or discuss or explain. We use these key words in the question to say what is, to help us know what the doing words are. So these words underneath that you see here are your doing words. We will use words like describe, explain, identify, recognize, or report. We've seen that you can memorize. This is stuff that you did at school level, you know, memorizing your times tables. Do you understand how to do something? Can you describe the process for us? Now, can you apply what you have learned? So as we get up this Bloom's taxonomy, or this is hierarchy, we can see that we're asking more and more of you, all right? Can you implement something? Can you solve? Can you demonstrate? We want you to think, to remember, think, and apply. So think, understand, and apply. Can you do these three things? And at an undergraduate level, you should be able to remember, understand, and apply. As you get up into your postgraduate, we'll start seeing if you can analyze, if you can evaluate. And by the time you get to a doctoral level, can you create new forms or new body of work that contributes to the body of knowledge in a specific field? So at an undergraduate level, we want you to be able to at least get up to the analyze. We want you to be able to distinguish something or to compare something. We want you different theories. So these are the doing words that I was talking about. So when you get asked a question, define this particular theory, or explain the 6 steps. Explain this process. That's what we're talking about. So it's really important to read your questions carefully. You really do need to make sure that you read carefully and not just go in and answer the question straight away because you've latched onto a particular word and off you go on this tangent. Now what happens? We've now read the question carefully. There is an art to writing, and I equate writing with building a hamburger. And writing a paragraph, there is a skill to building the perfect burger, all right? Your topic sentence tells us what this paragraph is about, all right? The first part of the paragraph that introduces the main idea is your supporting sentence. It's specifically to do with the question that you are answering. You're going to use more supporting sentences to elaborate, to justify what you're saying. So those are supporting sentences. And then you get a concluding sentence in your paragraph so that we know, okay, that's the end of the thought. One thought, one paragraph, please. It's really important to use correct punctuation and grammar when writing your assignments. In this day and age, there is no reason for you to have spelling errors in your assignment. That's a big bugbear of mine. So if I ever have to mark any of your assignments, spelling errors are a big no-no. If you're typing something out in a Word document, if it's underlined in red, it means you have a spelling error. We use a ReGenesys UK or South African spelling. We do not adhere to the Americanized spelling, so we don't use the Z. If we say realize or analyze, we use the S in our spelling. We do not drop vowels. We always make sure that we have the U in the word color. We would spell it C-O-L-O-U-R. So make sure that you're using the correct spelling in what you do. So how do we build this hamburger? How do we build the perfect assignment? And really, this is the basis for all your assignments. For anything that you have to write an essay for, this is how you start. You've got to start with an introduction. You need to know, well, what are we talking about? Your introduction is almost like your trailer for a movie. You know, if you've seen the trailer, you go, oh, this looks interesting, I want to watch it. Well, your introduction in your essay needs to be able to catch me, needs to be able to catch and grab the reader so that they'll continue reading whatever you're writing about. And it's really interpreting your question. Please don't ever repeat or rewrite or retype the question in your assignment as your introduction. Rather tell us, I've read the question, I understand the question, and this is what I'm going to talk about. I want to be able to see that you've understood what we're asking you and if you're in the right area. All right. So you're going to outline your central argument or arguments on how you intend to tackle the task or the question that's been asked of you. You're also going to tell me this is what's going to be coming up in my main section of my assignment. This is what I'm going to be discussing. So we know, oh yeah, this sounds good. I'm looking forward to reading it. It's really important to be logical and concise. Keep your sentences short. If you find that you're rambling, you're going to go over your word limit. And we usually do have word limits in assignments, all right? It says your introduction should be approximately 1 page in length. That's for your massive research assignments. For an undergraduate level, 1 paragraph is like a quarter of the page, or it's about 10 sentences. It should be a short paragraph is sufficient for undergraduate students. Okay. In your main body, so we've had an introduction. We've given you you've given us the trailer. You're now going to tell us exactly what you spoke about. You're going to define the key concepts. If there are definitions to be given, you're going to give us definitions. You're going to structure your argument in a logical fashion. If you're writing an essay type assignment, it's always helpful to use a mind map. So don't just start writing and you've looked at the topic and just start writing. Rather draw out a mind map or draw out a skeleton of what you're going to discuss so that you know that you're crafting a coherent and logical argument. All right. I always find it's easy to write the introduction, go into your main body and then rewrite your introduction, because when you've read your main argument, does it make sense? And then does my introduction highlight the main body of the work? All right. When you give a statement, it's always important to give an example by way of an explanation. What that tells the reader is that you understand exactly what you're saying and that you're able to apply what you're saying to the real world. So it's great to use examples or explanations. So you go, for example, this, and this, all right? And use your own words, unless you're quoting a definition or a direct quote from an author. You need to be able to paraphrase. You need to take the concept and put it in your own words. Why do we do that? Because if you don't, it means that you haven't understood what you've read or what you're even writing. You need to explain it in your own words. You need to show that you can make a convincing argument. And remember to only include relevant information, all right? Because the minute you start waffling, you've lost the reader. Don't assume that the reader understands what you're saying. Make sure that you're concise and that you're clear in your communication. Make sure that you're clear in what you are defining or what concept you're talking about. And again, like I said, you need to keep your paragraph short and 1 thought per paragraph, or one, build it up. If you're going to talk about something else, make sure you make use of paragraphs. There's nothing more frustrating than reading a body of text that just goes on and on and on and on with no paragraphs in it. Your conclusion is almost your spoilers. If the introduction is your is an intro to the movie, your conclusion will be your spoilers, because it tells you this is what I did. In your introduction, you're given the trailer. In your conclusion, you're going to say, this is what I did. Does your conclusion tie up with the introduction? If your introduction says, I will do A, B, and C, in your conclusion, have you done A, B, and C? Indicate what you set out to do in the introduction. Have you done it? Summarize your key arguments. You always say, I want to have the last say. Well, in your conclusion, this is your last say. This is everything that you put into the body of your argument, and you're going, in a nutshell, this is what I mean. Okay? Summarize your key recommendations. If they ask you, explain, compare the two theories and justify which theory you would use in the situation. You would give key recommendations and you would do your justification in your conclusion, right at the end. Okay. You heard about plagiarism on Saturday. Plagiarism is probably your biggest no-no in academia. Plagiarism is literally taking another person's words or thoughts and making it as if you came up with those words and thoughts. Now, there's a really easy way to get around plagiarism by acknowledging the author, by saying this person said this and this, or this person thinks that, and giving them their due acknowledgement, all right? So how do we do that? Well, we do that by way of referencing. Now I'm going to show you a couple of slides. All of this will be available to you. In ACE, I do a specific referencing workshop, which you can go through. It is also in the content of your Personal Mastery IQ section, so you can go through that content as well. But all students except the law school use what we call APA, the American Psychology Association, APA 7 as our referencing style. All right. The law school uses a slightly different, referencing style, and you'll learn all about that in your law modules. Okay. But there's a really nice video as well about APA referencing and how it works. And then I also give you your basic APA style as well. Okay. You can go over all of these in your own time, or you can go into ACE and look at the referencing workshop. Okay, so this is what I mean by citation, giving someone acknowledgement. So you go according to, or it cited that, or Melissa posited. It's a very old-fashioned word, Melissa posited, but some people still use it. So-and-so agreed that. Lamented is another word. Lamented is often used that where you're sad about something, where you lament about the good old days. So-and-so disagreed. So-and-so projected, or this was portrayed that. These are the kind of words that we often use to show that it's not my original thought. I'm giving acknowledgement to someone who had a thought. All right. Mybib.com is a fantastic resource, an AI resource for you to use. You can put in a website or a journal or a book into this, and it will help you generate the correct style of referencing. Unfortunately, the law school, MyBib doesn't cover South African law referencing styles yet, but APA 7 is on there. So you would put your book in here and click on APA 7, and it would spit out the correct reference for you. I highly recommend these two books for the law students, Academic Literacy for Law Students. For all other students, this tutor book called Academic Literacy. It helps you. It's not a prescribed textbook, but I recommend this book. It will help you over in general with your studies. It teaches you how to read properly. That it sounds funny when I say it teaches you how to read, but it teaches you how to read academic texts. So copious amounts of textbooks and journals and articles. It'll show you how to skim read, how to read effectively, and how to do academic reading, as well as how to write academically. So really good resource for you guys to have a look at. Okay. And when I said you need to acknowledge someone, just a little joke for you. When your essay is due for tomorrow and you run out of references, please don't put there, this was once revealed to me in a dream. And don't put there that, please don't reference your facilitator unless they have actually published the textbook that they are using in class. You cannot reference your class notes or your class slides or your facilitator. The work comes from somewhere. It's usually the textbook, or there is some kind of reference in your study guide as well of where this information came from. And like I said, if you are unsure, you can always go to the Academic Center of Excellence, onto ACE. We have a number of modules where you can actually go into, and you can have a look at the academic writing skills. You can also have a look at your learning tools for academic success. If you struggle with writing in general, you can actually have, there is a academic writing and a practical academic writing course that you can go on. So if you really struggle with writing, I highly recommend that you go on those courses and go through and practice. Practice, practice, practice. You need to practice writing. And most importantly, you need to read more. I know most students go, I hate reading. I'd rather watch something, or I'd rather listen to an audio book. But the more you read, the more you're exposed to different perspectives, and the more your vocabulary will grow. And you need, at this stage, as an undergraduate, you need to grow your vocabulary. The larger your vocabulary, the more beautiful your writing becomes, because you're able to use words that aren't commonly used. So we encourage you to read more and then to practice writing. And it really is a skill that you can improve on and hone on. And that could be something that you might want to set as a SMART goal for your personal mastery journey. So I'm going to stop at this part now, and I'm going to hand over to Lisa, who is going to take you through the SMART goal and SMART goals that you will need for your personal mastery.
Don't
Lisa,
go away.
you.
Don't go away,
okay.
Melissa. I see that we've had some questions in the chat. We have been answering them as we've been going on. I'm going to just do the top 3, okay? Yes, this is recorded. I'm not sure if you can see it on your screen. I can guarantee you I've got the recording button going. It will be on the portal. Everything you do at ReGenesys, we do on ReGenius, which is our learner management system. You will upload your personal development plan for personal mastery. You will upload also any of your assignments. You must learn to be very comfortable on the learner management system, and we call it ReGenius. That is where everything happens. And no, there is no examinations. So everybody can clap. I know wherever you are, you should be jumping
for
up. For
personal mastery. There's no exam for personal mastery.
You ruined for me. I was going to say, we're going to make us so proud that with personal mastery, we don't do an examination. However, you have a personal mastery mark on your academic record and on your progress report. And you have to pass personal mastery so that you can graduate. Take it seriously. That's why I'm saying, and you don't argue with us. And don't argue with us, but please allow us. Melissa, I'm just
carry
having
on.
Yes.
I'll finish your thought for you. We do this often. So when you're and Lisa in my classes, we often finish each other's thoughts. So what Lisa's trying to say is you need to be open to this personal mastery journey. We will try and stretch you in terms of what is acceptable. We will throw concepts at you that you go, I'm not so sure about that. Don't argue yet. You can argue in your reflective essay. If you disagree with this entire personal mastery journey, you can tell us in your reflective essay, which is due in 6 months' time. All right. But what I'm saying is, what Lisa's trying to say is, be open, put in the effort, and you will see a difference. You will see a difference in yourself and in your growth. In terms of questions, I've just popped into the Q&A now. I just want to make sure that the different for reference for law students only for law subjects. That's correct. So when you're dealing with law subjects, you'll be using the law referencing style. When you do business management, for example, you'll go into APA, and that's why I included all of that in these slides, because everyone uses APA 7, and please make sure that it's APA 7 that you're using. There is quite a bit of difference between APA 6 and APA 7. And then for your law subjects, you will use the law referencing style. Right. Lisa, do you want to carry on?
Yes, thank you so much. And I also saw some comments in the chat about it's not showing on your portal. Do not worry. We will get it on your portal. We are going to show you. I've had some other questions. They only seen this particular personal mastery tonight and next Monday. That is right. This is the highlight reel. We are just going through it. Your material is on the system. You will get your access. Don't worry. Be patient. We will make sure. If you have problems, you must go and speak with your SRMs, which are your student relationship managers, which are in our customer relations and collections department. They have all the answers for you. Don't worry, we are going to show you next week how to submit, because if we show you tonight, you're not gonna pay attention, and we need you to pay attention now. So I see that it's almost 18:20. I'm going to ask Melissa, do you want to take a break now, or would you like me to go?
I think let's do a 5-minute break now, and then after your section, we'll do another 5-minute break, and then we'll go through the last section.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay,
so I will see everybody back here at 18:25. Okay, 6:25. Right. Quickly run whatever you need to do, and then we'll be back here.
Quick comfort break. Grab a glass of water, stretch yourself, shake it out. You've been sitting for an hour, almost an hour. So quickly, just recharge, and we will see you at 6:25.
See, we've got 1 more minute according to my time. As you can see, we're going to join again now at 6:25. So I hope you're finishing off your last drink of water. Hope you're rushing to the computer and getting ready for the next part of our session. And as I said before, we are going to be recording this. Yes, we'll put it on the portal. If you haven't seen it on the portal, not to worry, it will be there. If you're having network problems, I'm very sorry, but you know what? That's why we record all our classes here at ReGenesys, and they're all available in your different qualifications. And that's what Carmen was explaining about where everything was. Melissa will also take you through it again next week, so don't stress, be patient, and you'll learn all will be revealed. Okay, it is now exactly 6:25 on my watch, so let's get going. I want you to take a few moments, and I want you to look at this slide. This slide is purposely got goals in the middle. I want you to start to think about your goals. It's a bullseye. And when you shoot an arrow and you draw it back, you always want it to go in the middle. If you're playing darts, you want it in the middle. It's 50 points. And if you're doing arrows, it's 10 points. But what does goal setting and this target have to do with each other? Well, we want you to set your goals because this is the easiest way to not only pass personal mastery, but to get a distinction in personal mastery. There is no reason, and I see that we have 635 students online tonight. That is amazing. All 635 of you could get a distinction because it's that easy to do that in personal mastery. But the clue and the key, and I'm going to give it to you now, is setting your goals. It is very easy. We talk about it continuously. That's what you're going to do in your personal development plan. That's what you're going to reflect on in your essay that you're going to write. I've seen there's a lot of people asking, you get stressed about examinations. There's no examination. There are certain goals you have to set, and then there's also a reflective essay, and there's the evidence. And if you do all three of those things and you do them well, you will get a distinction. I can even tell you, in our first cycle, there have been people who have gotten 100%. It can be done. So I want you to set one of your goals, not to do anything other than getting at least a distinction in personal mastery. It's that easy. And you need it because you actually have to have the 5 credits to graduate. Okay, so we're sitting and we're looking at this. This is your big goals, and you're looking in the center. Now, I want you to go to the second thing. I want you to think about how you're going to set that goal. So Dr. Markle often says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Okay? That's like, what kind of statement is that? Make a plan. It's that easy. Set a goal, make a plan, and then get to work. You don't make a plan and then set it aside, because if you do that, you will never get your goals done. Stick to it. We're going to talk about it just now, how to write SMART goals. Then you reach your goal. And just like that person with a happy smile and with my happy smile, you're going to do it. And as I've said, I want everyone to not only pass personal mastery, I want you to get a distinction. And for you that are wanting to cum laude, getting 100% in personal mastery will also be halfway to your goals. Okay? How do you set goals? Well, first of all, it demands a sacrifice from you. Why do you actually set goals? It builds motivation. It gives you direction, just like that arrow. You want it to go straight, but it motivates you. It gives you direction. It promotes the discipline, and also it allows you to grow. Remember, Melissa said, personal mastery is about personal growth. Then it also allows you to have a measuring tool, and you're going to say, how's that possible? I'll explain just now. But it also allows you to keep momentum. Most of you are very happy. It's the beginning of the year. It's the beginning of 2025. You've got a lot of personal ideas, a lot of New Year's resolutions, a lot of things. But momentum in 6 months' time might be flagging. And that's why on personal mastery, we want you to know from the beginning, it does require a sacrifice, but you can at the same time keep up that momentum. Okay, like I showed you in that previous slide, there's a target. And I like this one because right in the middle is that bullseye, and right next to it is that light bulb. Right now, you need to be choosing what your destination is, or what you want to make reality in your life. And when you need to know what path, how to get there, okay? You have to select a target. You have to decide what process you're going to use, and you're going to reach your objectives, and then you're going to focus on achieving that goal. And that's what we are doing with you every step of the way. You need to actually achieve your goal to actually, if you've set it, to actually finish it off. Who wants to make a goal and then say, oh, I've never wanted to achieve it? That's silly, because that's not what goals are for. Goals are to motivate you. Okay. So then, what do we look at when we're trying to do goals? They start with an effective process. So how do you do it? A lot of us say, oh, I know, I write some goals, I write some pros, I write some cons. Not to worry. That's why we're here. You need to write down your large-scale goals. For example, you might have a personal goal. I'm going to share something exciting that's happening in my life. And so for me, this is one of my goals. My daughter's getting married this year. So we have a huge wedding process to do. But what am I going to do to get to that large scale goal of getting to her wedding at the end of the year? I started, and she started, writing down all the things that she wanted to achieve in her wedding. So you know what? She has to create the plan. She has to go then work on her plan. And then she's going to have to pick what her top goal is. Now, for us, and for most of us, if we're doing a goal for like an event, maybe you want to buy a house, maybe you want to buy a car, maybe you want to go on an overseas holiday. That's a big goal, but you're going to have to break it down, and you're going to have to pick what your top goal is to get there. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight as well. Then you're going to have to set your smaller milestones, and you're going to write out the steps of how you're going to do that. And then you're going to schedule how you're going to do the ongoing thing, getting back to the wedding or buying a car or buying a house. Maybe you start off on a budget of 10,000. Okay, that's not realistic for whatever we're talking about. But let's say you say 10,000. That's your big goal. I want to be able to have 10,000 Rand by the end of whatever so that I can do whatever. That's a big goal. Then you pick that top goal and you break it down. How am I going to reach that 10,000 Rand? What am I going to do? What am I going to sacrifice? In the previous slide, we talked about you have to sacrifice something. What are you going to write down? What are your milestones? When maybe my birthday's next month, maybe then at your place of employment, they give you a bonus. Or maybe you're with part of a stockful and you get extra money. You know what? Then you add that money and you say, oh, in March, I have more amount of money. I can put that towards my big goal if you're doing something like planning to buy something. Then you write out the steps. Oh, wow, how am I going to get there? And don't worry, this is the process. We will then show you in next week's session when we talk about our budgeting, how to make that a reality as well. And then you must schedule. You must tick off. Okay, have I saved that amount of money by June? Have I saved that amount of money by whatever? All of those things is working through the process. Okay? But I'm going to give you the top tip right now. And this is the best thing. And I'm going to turn off my camera so you can see it on the big screen so that you don't have to see what I'm seeing myself all the time. But I want you to see how we do SMART goals. Okay. SMART. And you will hear this word throughout ReGenesys. We will talk about SMART goals in the BBA. We talk about it in higher certificate. We talk it in the MBA. We talk it even when we're a doctorate. We talk it in our own lives. Learn to write SMART goals. S stands for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for realistic, and T for timely. Listen carefully, because this is when we are actually going to show you how to actually write a SMART goal. And when I've been going through the portfolio of evidences for our other students, I can tell you something. People did not listen how to write the SMART goal. And you will that is the easiest way to get the most points and to get that A for your assignments and for personal mastery if you write SMART. So let's start it. Let's go and start with S. S stands for specific. Okay, what is specific mean? It means it's well defined. It has to be effective. It has to have sufficient direction as to where you exactly want to go. You have to be able to say, what do I want you to achieve? I want you to look at that picture. This is what I want for you. What do you see? You can put in the Q&A. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I see, and I'd love to hope that you see the same thing. I see the lovely lady's graduation on graduation day. And as I've mentioned before, we want you at ReGenesys on your personal mastery journey, not only to pass personal mastery, we want you to pass every single course, and we want you to enjoy your graduation day. The Learning and Teaching Personal Mastery team, we celebrate with you. We celebrate when you do that. One of your goals, which is one of the very easiest goals that you can do for your academic skills, is to write down, I want to graduate by X date. Okay? I'll talk about that. I want to graduate. I want to achieve that. And I want at this moment for you to think about that. Look at those smiles. I want to see that smile. You can do it. Don't lose your momentum. But you need to start with a specific thing, what you want to achieve. Then your goal needs to be measurable. How can you track your goal? Well, we're going to talk about our physical quotient next week as well. And in the physical quotient, one of the things we talk about is that maybe a SMART goal is that I would like to lose 10 kilograms by 30th September 2024. Oh my word, there's a mistake there. It must be by 10 kilograms by 2025. You know what I mean? I mean, we're still back in 2024. But you know what I'm saying? If I tried to say, I want to lose 10 kilos by next week, and I'm not talking about using these amazing drugs that are on the market that you take, you need to be specific and it has to be measurable. And one of the reasons why we use SMART goals that are measurable, that we give you 6 months to achieve them, okay? Measurable, because if you're trying to lose weight, it's not healthy to lose weight in a week's time, 10 kilos. It is not clever, and it is not even encouraged. But what I'm saying, that anything you do, you have to plan, and it gives you time to change your habit and to change. So if you're losing 10 kilos in 10 months' time, wow, that's absolutely achievable. So that's why we give you at least 6 months to do your thing. So going back to SMART, it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, and then it brings us to achievable. Okay, this is one of my favorite slides, and it says achieve your dreams. If you look on my left-hand side, my right-hand side, you can see a graduation hat. On my left-hand side is you can achieve your dreams. You can do it. And that's how you start writing those SMART goals. That key could be for a house. That key could be financial freedom. That key could be the freedom to anything you want. But that graduation hat is very special. We are an academic institution. When you do your assignments, plan to do something. Make a goal that's SMART and achievable. Maybe in the past, you have never, ever turned an assignment in on time, or even 2 weeks in advance. Okay, let's be realistic. That's probably not going to happen. Let's say 2 days in advance. If you turn your assignment in 2 days in advance, if you finish those essays in any course, you'd have time to edit, you have time to go back over it, and you have time to read it. And then you're not going to try, and heaven forbid, try and cheat or try to go use our friend Mr. Chat. Oh yes, we know Chat GPT at ReGenesys. We will catch you. We know about him. But you guys, I know this group of intake, you're going to be smart and you're not going to try to use chat. You're going to have original things and you're going to have that graduation hat on the end. So back to goals. SMART, specific, measurable, A, achievable. What does R do? R is relevant. Okay, look at this slide. Why is this slide here? What does this have to do with goals? Look, you have to have a vision. You have to go up that stairs. You have to go upwards. You're going to have a goal. You're going to have a plan. You have action, and voila, it's success. That is why you actually are be able to have SMART goals. It has to be relevant. Please don't choose a goal that you think I want you to do, because it's not going to work. Personal mastery is a personal growth. It has nothing to do with what I, Lisa Schaefer, wants for you. What I want is not what you want. Make it relevant. The more personal, the more that you actually put into it, and the more relevant it is to you, the more you will achieve it. And that is how you will grow and not only achieve what you want to achieve, you will have the steps and you will have the key to keep on doing it even after personal mastery. When you go to other jobs or go and you do other things in life, this is the beginning of how to actually do it. Okay, so we've got our SMART. Remember, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Why do we say time-bound? Because if you don't have a time-bound, it just kind of floats in the wind, and you don't ever commit to anything, and you never know that you've actually achieved it. It motivates you to achieve the deadline. And you know what? In one of my other classes, they actually said you should have another one that actually says that you should actually have smarter goals so that you can not only examine what you've done, you must also then be able to enjoy it. And you actually give yourself even more things. You celebrate. We're very big on celebrations here, and we love celebrating. So do goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic and time-bound, and that they give you a deadline. Okay. Now, what are we going to talk about that we need to remember? Goal setting isn't something that doesn't stop. It goes on and on. You redefine your goals. Obviously, in personal mastery and your personal development plan, you have to stop and you have to stay on track and you have to hand it in to us. But in life, you must continue to review what you're doing, because if you don't review the process, you won't notice what's not working and what is. And you need to make those adjustments. Let's go back to thinking of when you're wanting to lose weight. Maybe you are eating only something that's green and you're not adding anything else to it. If you keep doing that, maybe it's not going to do what your goal wants. You know what? Then you readjust and you go back. And you have to schedule these reviews. You have to give time for yourself to reflect. One of the biggest things that we want you to do is to reflect. And that's why we have you do a reflective essay. It's not to tell us what you've done or you've achieved or haven't. It's to reflect on how you have grown, how you have changed. And that is part of the review process. And it also highlights your spotlights and your setbacks. There's nothing wrong with being honest and saying, I had a setback. I wanted to do something. And that's when we come to measuring progress. Look at these two slides. The one says progress and also goes up. And then there's a lady with a measuring tape going with the progress with her arrow. It's always going up. In personal mastery. We don't say anything's impossible. Everything's possible and everything can go up. You must take opportunity you must grab it when you can. And if you make a mistake, it's okay. Readjust your priorities and go back, but measure your progress, because when you measure it, you also motivate yourself. Why do you measure your goals? If we measure our goals, next slide. If you measure your goals, we gain insight into what your development is. Yourself, not me, yourself. You get time to reflect. You uncover and remove those obstacles. You realign and readjust. You boost your motivation. That means you stay on track. And from a work perspective, or from what you're doing with your budget, or even with physical activity, even in your workplace, you heighten your productivity, and it stops you and limits your procrastination. Melissa will talk to you about procrastination, because procrastination is a student's worst enemy. Don't do it. Think about it, change it, and be on schedule, on time, and on track. And it promotes productivity. How do you stick to your SMART goals? You need to align your environment with your goals. For example, if you ever see me, and if you're ever in contact with me, I have, and I'm going to turn on my camera because you will notice this. I have this Stanley flask with me wherever I go. People know if I'm in the office because I have this Stanley flask here. It's tall. It has water in it. If one of your goals is to lose weight, for example, make something in your environment aligned to your goal. Have the water available to you. Have it right there. If you want to go to sleep at night and you want to make sure you're wanting to go on a run for tomorrow morning, have your things set out. It motivates you. Also, create commitment devices. And you're like, what's commitment devices? Commit to yourself. For your academic studies, I have something that a good friend gave to me. It says, it's my calendar. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't. But it says thankful, grateful, blessed 2025. Already I have a schedule. Already I write down my goals. I have a commitment device to myself to stay positive. Think of those positive things that you need. When I'm thinking of my SMART goals, I use my calendar. Create identity-based habits. Once again, I'll use the example if you're wanting to up your exercise routine, for example. Maybe you used to be a fantastic runner and it's kind of gone by the side. 2024 was whatever. 2025, you come alive. Put those gym clothes next to your bed. Put them out. Lay everything out. Even have your water bottle ready to go. Have your smartwatch with ready to run. Have your towel ready. Have everything ready. There's no excuses. Those are commitment devices. You are responsible for your own SMART goals. Then practice habit stacking, which moves on from what I was saying. Have the things and keep stacking it. Keep on doing it. Don't stop. And that is how you stay to your SMART goals. I just want you then to look at this slide. Okay? This slide is showing you that your goals are going forward. And you know what? A lot of us, even though it's already February, this week is Valentine's Day. You might have a lot of goals about Valentine's Day, but I'm talking about SMART goals, and I'm talking about your academic and personal mastery. But you have an arrow going ahead. You have everything available to you. You have everything that you can do to change your life. We're not going to change your life. We give you the tools, we give you the mechanisms, we give you the encouragement, the motivation. But at the end of the day, it is you that actually changes everything. Don't forget the slide. Put the arrow, put your feet, and get moving and do whatever you are supposed to do. Don't worry, this section will come up in the IQ section is your academic skills, everything we've talked about, even the things that Melissa's going to talk about in a few moments, our spiritual and our emotional quotient. It is all there. The material is there. It is interactive. Do not go through it the night before. You will lose your motivation. There is lots of people who have written this. They've spent hours writing it, and they've tailored it specially so that you can achieve SMART goals. And also, I'll give you a top tip. The SMART goals, there's videos that you can watch. You can sit down and write them. There's no reason, as I said, why you can't get 100% cum laude personal mastery. But that brings us to my very last slide. One of my favorites. Look at that bridge. This is the bridge. You have to cross the bridge. And it always says discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Think about that. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. What it's saying, if you're disciplined, if you write SMART goals, you will accomplish it, but you're still going to have to go over that bridge because you're still going to have to make the move. You're going to have to do it yourself. I can't do it for you. But the great news is that we are here for you. In personal mastery, we want you to grow. And I'm now going to turn it over to Melissa again, and we're going to talk specifically about how there's other mechanisms that's going to help you with your SMART goals.
Right, thank you, Lisa. So Lisa spoke about a lot of information with about setting up SMART goals, and I've alluded to the Academic Centre of Excellence. So on your dashboard on ReGenesys, you will see ACE, you will see at the top of your dashboard, you'll see a bunch of students, happy, smiley students, and it says Academic Centre of Excellence. Now, inside Academic Centre of Excellence, under ACE, there are a number of courses which you guys can take, which will help you. I've spoken about the academic writing one. I spoke about learning tools for academic success. We have regularly student success workshops. So we host these workshops quite often and we record those. Those are up and available to you as well to go through. When I spoke about referencing, for example, we did a workshop on referencing, how to write assignments. I've done that as well as a workshop. So you can go in and watch the recording at your own pace. Like I said, if you've got boring, mundane tasks to do, like ironing, you can sit and do your ironing and watch this in the background. Play the recording of these workshops. Have a listen to it. If you're stuck in an hour of traffic every day, play those student success workshops, listen to it while you're stuck in traffic, making use of your time wisely, making the best of the time that you have, prioritizing the time instead of sitting on the bus or the taxi and playing games on your phone, which is the time stealer. Rather use that time more effectively and use it to listen to a podcast or listen to your classes, the recordings of your classes that you've been to as well, or listen to one of the student success workshop classes. We have that academic writing module, and then you'll also see practical academic writing. The practical academic writing will be open to all of you in March. So go through the academic writing course first, and then the practical academic writing will be open in March for you as well. It is now smack on 18:55, so 5 minutes to 7. Lisa, we are keeping on time, yay. And I'm going to give you guys another quick 5-minute break just to stretch your legs, to give yourself a bit of a shake it off because you've been sitting for a long time now. Go grab a glass of water, quick comfort break, and we will be back at 7 o'clock exactly, and we will be moving into SQ, finding your purpose. What is your purpose? As well as EQ, which is emotional intelligence. So a quick 5-minute break. We'll be back at 7 o'clock exactly. Counts, it is exactly 7 o'clock, and we're moving swiftly along to the next section, which is your spiritual quotient, SQ. What does a spiritual intelligence or spiritual quotient mean? So I hope you guys are all back with me. It's exactly 7 o'clock, and let's begin. So Socrates said, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And really what spiritual intelligence is about knowing who you are. What is your purpose in this world? Why are you here? What added benefit can you give to society, to your friends, your family, to your community, to your fellow students, to man in general? Why are you here? And that's quite a deep question to be asking at 7 o'clock on a Monday evening. You know, it takes a lot of self-reflection to know what is your purpose. And it goes beyond more than just, I'm here to make money for my family. I'm here to graduate even. Why are you studying? Why do you need to graduate? Why do you want to make more money for your family? What difference do you want to make in their lives? What difference do you want to make for yourself? So it takes a lot of self-reflection, like I said, and spiritual intelligence is often confused with religion. It's not about being religious. It's not about any kind of religious affiliation at all. It's about who you are as a person and how you can contribute to society and be a contributing member of society. How do you make that difference? So we're going to go through a couple of things around SQ and EQ, which are very closely interlinked. Your emotional intelligence and your spiritual intelligence are very closely linked. And let's begin. So, personal mastery in terms of thinking of yourself as a brand. Your spiritual intelligence, if you think about who am I? How do I describe myself in one line? Think of yourself as pitching an elevator pitch. What do I do? Why am I important? Well, every single person is important. And Dr. Marco said at orientation, every one of you is unique. You all have something unique to you. No two people are the same. You all have different personalities. Even identical twins have identifying marks or personality traits that make them different. They may share the exact same DNA, but there is something about them that makes them different. Something about them that makes them unique and different from each other. So how do you define your brand? How do you live your brand? Are you authentic? Whatever you portray to people, is it really you? Are you living an authentic brand? And it's about making each day count. Do you get up in the morning with a vigor of wanting to achieve something, of wanting to do something well? Or are you one of those people that it takes an army to drag you out of bed? Because there's nothing that is making you achieve, making you want to achieve, making you want to do more with your day. So you want to have that spring in your step, and you can identify and help you get that spring in your step by looking at your spiritual intelligence. Your values, your goals, your belief system, your association, so your family, your community, who you associate with often has an impact on your spiritual intelligence because it is the value system in which you've grown up with. It's a value system in which you adopt and which you choose sometimes to move towards, all right? You may have been raised in a specific way and you may not have agreed with the way your parents raised you. So when you raise your children, you want to do things slightly differently. That is all about your spiritual intelligence and your emotional intelligence. And very importantly, it's about taking responsibility for your actions and for your emotions. I'll say it now, but I'll say it again when I do EQ. Having emotions, there are no right or wrong emotions. It is the way in which you react to those emotions or the way you outwardly portray those emotions that may be right or wrong. All right. So sometimes losing your temper, everyone thinks being angry is bad. But sometimes if you take that anger and turn it into a motivating force, that can be the difference between having EQ and not having EQ. And we're going to go through that a little later tonight. So spiritual intelligence really represents our drive for meaning. Why am I on this earth? And what is the connection that I have with other people and with this earth and with my community? That's really what spiritual intelligence is about. It's, do I have a deeper meaning? Do I have a bigger purpose? It's about your motivating factor, like I said, to get out of bed, to do what you do every single day. Spiritual intelligence is more than just our moral intelligence or moral obligations or our value system. It really is everything that encompasses you as a person, what you do, how you behave, how you act towards others, and how you behave in private. Is it the same thing as how you behave when you are in public, or how you behave with your family, or how you behave with your friends? Are you juggling different personalities depending on who you're dealing with? I'm not going to go through every single slide and every definition, but I've just put a couple of them up, and you can read more in the content of your spiritual intelligence quotient on ReGenesys. But it really is also about having a high degree of conscience, compassion, empathy for human values. Do we have a socially relevant purpose? Do we contribute to more? Is there more to life? And we talk about principles of spiritual intelligence. Is there self-awareness? Are you self-aware? Do you reflect often on your actions, on where you are with life? Do you have goals, life goals? You know, they often ask you in interviews, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Someone with a high degree of emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence will say, well, this is where my goals are. This is my purpose. I live for X, Y, and Z. Do you have a positive outlook when it comes to adversity? Are you one of those people that always sees the silver lining, or are you able to see the silver lining, or are you one of those people that like stick their head under the sand and go, I will ignore it and will it away, and I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to deal with any kind of adversity? Or are you one of those people that go, oh, poor me, life is against me, everything is going against me, and I'm constantly complaining that life isn't fair, that this person was against me, or that incident negatively affected me, so I'm going to take that negative incident and let that affect the rest of my life and constantly go back to that negativity. Negativity is a cycle that you can break in terms of your spiritual and emotional intelligence. The more you grow your spiritual intelligence and your emotional intelligence, the more you are able to snap out of that cycle of negativity. Do you have compassion? Compassion for yourself in terms of self-care? Are you really hard on yourself? Or do you go, it's okay to have failed, I'll try again? Or what can I learn from this failure? We often think that failure is a bad thing, and we often, you'll see what we talk about helicopter parenting, and they go, oh no, you fell, you scraped your knee, oh, shame, you know, like cotton wool your child. But you're not teaching your child anything in terms of having grit and endurance. Yes, you've fallen, you've scraped your knee, you've cleaned your knee up. Are you able to get back on that bike and try again? Are you able to get up, dust yourself off, and try again? And also, spiritual intelligence is also around celebrating diversity. It's realizing that not everyone is the same, and there is beauty in diversity, especially coming from South Africa. For South Africans, we always hear about the word diversity. We should be celebrating the fact that there are so many different people around us, different cultures, different ethnicities, different nationalities. We live in a world where the world has become smaller. We may be geographically far away from one another, but because of technology, we are at the click away of talking to someone on the other end, or on another continent, in another time zone. And it's about celebrating that diversity. Why do we stress about spiritual intelligence? Well, it forces us to embrace diversity. It also will give us a sense of our vocation, of the reason why we do anything. It also helps with humility. Humility is probably one of the scarcest commodities around nowadays. We all are I experts. I think this, I think that. We are bombarded by YouTube and TikTok and Instagram videos and posts where everyone has an opinion and everyone wants to be that expert. But it's also a beautiful quality to go, I don't know, or I may not know everything. I'd love to learn from you. So having that that element of humility also shows character in your spiritual intelligence. It allows you to be spontaneous. We live in a world of constant change. The only thing that is constant is change. So are we able to adapt and change course when something happens? Are we able to take that spontaneity and go, let's roll with it? I'm not afraid of change. Let's roll with it and see what happens. And it makes us question fundamental questions. It makes us think, just because it's always been done in a certain way, does it make it right? Do I expect a different outcome doing something the same way over and over again? So how do we apply this ideal of spiritual intelligence? What does it mean? Well, it helps us determine a core purpose, your core values. What is your core purpose? Why are you here? What is your why? What is your core values? You need to constantly examine your core values, and it helps you uncover a belief system. Do you prescribe to a particular belief system because you've grown up in it and that's all you know? Or are you open to other belief systems? Are you able to change your belief system if it doesn't agree with your core values anymore? Are you able to then to discern the two and maybe rearrange it so that you are living a life that doesn't contradict your core values? Are you able to solve problems using your spiritual intelligence principles? And can you sustain that desired reality? So when I said you do a lot of reflection in personal mastery, I'm going to take you to a very simple tool. It's by an author called Simon Sinek. I'm an absolute fan of Simon Sinek. He has Instagram. You can find him on Instagram. You can find him on TikTok. You can go Google him, and he has some really amazing takes on business as well as personal growth. And he talks about the golden circle. And you can apply this to anything. I've taken this golden circle and applied it to marketing principles around a brand, around a business, and we've taken a business and tried to find the golden circle. What I'm going to ask you tonight is to find your why. We're going to apply the golden circle to the reason for your existence. Now that sounds like a lot of therapy and a lot of reflection, but it's quite easy to go, let me sit down and think about this really carefully. Your why is your purpose. What do you do? Why do you do what you do? What do you believe in? What is your purpose on this earth? Okay. Your how is all the things that you do to achieve your why. So your why is your intrinsic motivators. Okay. You're studying. Why are you studying? Well, because I want to get a promotion. I want to be able to apply for the next level up. Why do you want a promotion? And you keep asking yourself the why, the why, the why. And eventually you'll come out with the core purpose of why you're doing something, of why you're really studying, of why you are undergoing 4 years or a year of study. What is your core purpose? And you're going to take that why and constantly apply it. At 2 o'clock in the morning, when you've got an assignment to do or you're reviewing your work and you're thinking, why am I doing this? I don't want to study anymore. I'm not enjoying it. Go back to your why. That is your intrinsic motivator. That is what you're slogging for. This is why you're giving up sacrifices. This is the goal that you're achieving. Your process is your habit system that Lisa was talking about. The process is all of the steps that you've taken to achieve the why. The what is the external results, the tangible results. Your what is you crossing that graduation stage. Your what is seeing your bank account grow. Your what is seeing the weight peel off because that was one of your goals. Or for you to gain weight or to gain muscle mass, whatever it is, your what is the physical manifestation of the process that you undertook to get to your why, to achieve your why. It's the result. So we talk about the outcomes, your identity, your process. And if you look at the human brain in terms of passion, okay, your passion comes out when all three work together, because you're doing something that you know you are fulfilling your goal. Yes, you want the processes, the actions that we take, and we want to be able to achieve it. So a lot of people talk about vision boarding. A lot of people say if you visualize it, you'll manifest it. That's the manifestation, or the visualization is your what. You want to see that outcome. And the reason why you go outside in is your manifestation is, this is what the end result is going to be. How am I going to do that to achieve my why? When you're passionate about something, it's all about your existence. I live for exercise. I live for being healthy, and I want to prolong my life, and I want everyone around me to be healthy. I'm really passionate about it. So everything that you do will be around your passion for healthy living. So the processes, the steps that you take, your actions involved will always be about your why. So that's what we talk about in terms of passion inside out. And when you're policing, if you're struggling, if you're falling by the wayside, go back out and go back inside and go, well, what am I doing? What do I want to achieve? How am I doing it in order to achieve my why? Your why, how, and what must always be in harmony. And what does that mean in practice? Well, it means that your how, your actions that you take, and your result, your what, must be consistent with your core beliefs. If you don't believe in being healthy, or you don't believe in the reason why you're doing something, your motivation for doing it and your actions will be lost, and you won't achieve those outcomes. You won't achieve the what. Okay, so you need to have a clarity of the why you're doing something, the discipline on what you're going to do, the how, all the steps that you're going to take, that's your discipline, and consistency. You need consistency. All right. Into emotional intelligence. Now, I said in the beginning, your emotional intelligence and your spiritual intelligence are very closely linked, because your passion, it's got to come out. You've got to show it comes out in all the steps that you take, and the why, and the how you do things. All right. If you really don't like doing something, there's no passion for it, you know you have to achieve it, but you don't really want to do it. Part of emotional intelligence is recognizing that you may not be motivated, you may be feeling a certain way, but you acknowledge those emotions and you work around it, and you put in other steps in place because you know you're not motivated, or you're feeling down about something and you want to work around it. Okay, and you want to take steps to change those emotions, those negative emotions of being complacent, of being miserable, of being whatever it is that's negative. So emotional intelligence is really, it's a subset of social intelligence. It involves the ability to monitor one's own and others' feelings and emotions, and how to discriminate among them and use this to guide one's thinking and actions. Now, that's a mouthful. What does it really mean? Emotional intelligence will affect your physical well-being. It will affect your mental well-being. It will affect your relationships. It will help you either resolve conflicts, or it might, if you have a lack in emotional intelligence, you might find yourself constantly in conflicts. All right. It will help you determine whether you are successful in terms of influencing and negotiating with people. So it's really important that you have a high degree of emotional intelligence. So I love talking about emotional intelligence in the form of one of my favorite movies. For those people who have children, you will know what this movie is. When I do contact classes, I always ask, I have a prize, a spot prize for the person that can identify which movie this is. So I don't know if we can do this quickly. I'll give you a chance in the Q&A function if you can tell me what movie is this. And Lee, if you can look out for me in the Q&A. First person to tell me who or what this movie is. I don't know if the Q&A is even work. or
The
Lisa or Lee.
The Q&As are working. They've just gone very shy, and we have
Yes.
680
Yeah.
people online, and I
have
don't believe they're
680 students
shy.
and no one knows what this movie is.
Oh,
Any
I don't
guesses?
know. I'm sure they know. Maybe they're just a little bit shy
just being
tonight.
shy.
Okay, we've got a couple of answers that have come through.
All right.
Fantastic.
What have we got?
Right, we've got 2 with Inside Out.
Woohoo!
Well done. Well done. Yes, this movie is called Inside Out, and it's all about emotions. The characters are all emotions. And I love explaining emotional intelligence using Inside Out. So please bear with me. And it's not just a children's movie. If you've never watched the film Inside Out, there is a sequel as well, which is also really good. I highly recommend watching it even as an adult, because it really talks about the different emotions and how it plays inside you and how they all interact with each other. And sometimes we're more sad, we're more angry. Those that my colleagues that know me well will recognize certain emotions. The little red man, I often use him as an emoji when I'm talking. And I'll often say, I am feeling really angry right now. But the trick is that you need to feel all your emotions. There are no right or wrong emotions. And I want to go quickly through the emotions on from Inside Out, because it really is your common emotions that you feel. Sadness. And I'm going to tell you why every emotion is not bad, good or bad. And when we think of sadness, we think sadness is bad. We think being sad is bad. But sadness actually helps us notice and cherish what we love. You didn't know you loved it until you lost it. All right. Sadness also helps us connect with others. If you are highly emotionally intelligent, you're able to connect with others and have what we call empathy, and showing, understanding that they're feeling sad right now, and maybe helping them out a bit, giving them a smile, walking past a perfect stranger and making and smiling at them, greeting them good morning, might change their day completely. Maybe they got to work but before getting to work they overslept, they missed their alarm, they got their kids late to school, they discovered that they left their laptop back at home, had to run back home, fetch their laptop, get to work, and now they're in a really horrible mood. And having empathy will just go, I'm sorry you've had a bad start to the morning, how can I help you? Can I help you get the meeting set up that you're about to present? Or here's a cup of coffee, or just a smile to that person. Anger, like I said, I often use this little red man. He is a familiar friend of mine. I do blow up very quickly, but then I've also learned that I've now had to count to 10 before I blow up. And the flip side of anger is it helps us focus on barriers in a way. All right. So one of my character traits is that if you tell me I can't, I get angry, and then I go, let's see about that. And it energizes you to break through obstacles. If you say you can't do something or it's not possible, I will try and figure out how it can be possible, because it motivates me. So I use anger often to motivate me to do something. Joy. Joy helps us notice what's going well. It fuels our energy. And like I said, sometimes it's not a good or a bad emotion, but sometimes if you're feeling joy all the time, you need to have that balance. So sadness and joy are not good or bad, but there is balance in having both those emotions. Most people think fear is bad. Banish your fears. You keep getting told, banish your fears. But why is fear helpful? Well, it helps us to focus on what we want to protect. It also helps us to take action against threats. So if you were walking in a dark street and you're walking past this dark alley, you're about to come up to a dark alley, suddenly you get these tingles in your spidey senses, and you think, oh, maybe I should cross the street and probably not walk past that dark alley. That fear is almost, it's our protective mechanism. It tells us, you need to maybe step away from doing something. The trick is to not be paralyzed by our fear, to recognize that there is fear, and then analyze the situation. Is my fear actually a real fear? Am I trying to protect myself against something? Or is it a perceived fear? I have a fear of failure, so I won't even try it. Often people are paralyzed by fear. They won't do something because they fear failure. Now that would be a fear that would be negative in a way, because you'll never achieve anything if you fear failure, right? Can I acknowledge that I'm fearing failure? Well, what steps can I take to mitigate any kind of failure and overcome that fear? That's how we take those negative emotions and put a positive spin on it. Disgust help us set boundaries of what is okay, or what society tells us is okay or is not okay. It rejects what's unhealthy or wrong. There are certain things that someone might do that say, oh, that's disgusting, or it's socially taboo. It helps us interact with the people that we are currently in that particular social setting. So discuss, again, doesn't mean it's a bad thing or a good thing. It depends on the social setting that you're in. And being able to recognize that something is, that you are feeling disgust for something, makes you question your belief system and your value system as well, because it may be disgusting to you, but it may be socially acceptable to someone else. And that, again, it brings in diversity. Embrace diversity, because what if what you find disgusting is not disgusting to another person? Having that different perspective, that's what helps you grow spiritually and emotionally. Anxiety. Everyone is plagued with anxiety. We have more people on anti-anxiety medication than we have ever before. And we all think anxiety is bad, but anxiety also helps us notice if we're not prepared, if we're not safe. If you're feeling really stressed out and really anxious because you've got a presentation for tomorrow, you're presenting to your bosses, and you haven't prepared, well, you should be stressed and anxious because you haven't prepared. So the trick is to know, when is your anxiety, when is your anxiety valid? All right. Am I anxious because I have an assignment due in 2 days' time and I haven't even started yet? Well, you should be anxious. It's your mind telling you, get to it, get started. Anxiety can be lessened when you are using your time management skills properly, when you have done your planning properly, when you are following a schedule, when you are doing those activities that help you achieve those SMART goals that you've set. And it also helps you be an agent of change. It gives you the energy to make that change, all right? Take that anxious energy and use it as a motivating factor to get it done, all right? Often, and we won't recognize it. Elisa said I'd speak about procrastination. We procrastinate because deep down we're anxious about something. We either fear failure or we fear not doing it correctly, or we're anxious about something because we have never done it before. So we will procrastinate. And the best way to deal with procrastination is to face that fear or face that anxiety. What am I really anxious about? What am I really fearful about? Is it because I've never done it? Well, so what if I do it and I fail? I'll try again. So that so what really is a trigger point in changing your anxiety and your anxiety levels or your fear levels. So what if I fail? Let me try again. So what if I don't get the answer right? I'll learn from my mistakes. All right. So taking anxiety and fear and turning it around to a positive spin is really important. Boredom. How many of you were bored to tears during COVID? You were in lockdown, you couldn't go out, you couldn't go see your friends, you couldn't spend time with family, you couldn't even go walking or riding or socializing or going to restaurants and movies, and you were at home and bored to tears. Let me tell you that during COVID, people became so innovative because of boredom. Boredom allows us to let our minds wander and relax. It helps us to be more creative and learn. When you are bored, for those of you with small children, have you ever heard, Mommy or Daddy, I'm bored? And you go outside and play. Go find an activity to do. Your boredom, if you are bored with something, find the trigger to help you make your learning fun. Turn it into a story. Turn it into a game. It's boring learning about, memorizing your times table. But if I give myself a reward, if I turn it into a game, if I'm creative about learning, or I'm bored with doing something over and over again because it's a monotonous thing that I'm doing all of the time. Find ways to turn that boredom or turn that monotonous activity into something fun for you, to be creative. It forces you to be creative so that the task or that situation is not as boring. Jealousy. Everyone says the green-eyed monster is bad for you. Well, jealousy also helps us decide what is important for us. It helps us it pushes us to take action. There are different levels of jealousy. There's a healthy jealousy, and then there's jealousy where you go, that's not healthy. It's okay to want more for yourself. It's okay to want more for your family. But it's okay to want that promotion, all right? You're jealous that your colleague got the promotion, all right? That's okay. You're disappointed you didn't get it. When you take that jealousy and you act negatively on it by sabotaging your colleague's next presentation, that would be a negative way of handling your jealousy. If you recognize that you are jealous, well, why are you jealous? Because I also wanted that promotion. Go back and think, well, why didn't I get it? Self-reflection, it forces you to take action of self-reflection. Well, maybe I'm not as strong as my colleague in X, Y, and Z, and that's what they were looking for in that particular job that you were both up for the promotion, right? Taking that jealousy and working it into a positive impact. That's what you need to do with jealousy. Embarrassment. How many of you have been in an embarrassing situation and you want to just curl up and hide, right? Embarrassment helps us notice when we're not aligned to something. It helps us notice that we're not conforming to a particular social setting. Now, when people say, I can walk in and read a room, it means you have a high level of emotional intelligence. When you say, oh, that person cannot read a room, that person is so blind, they just walked in and spoke about something, and everyone's sitting there sitting very uncomfortably because they've just made an off-color joke, or they've just made some comment that you think, that's not really appropriate for in the setting that we're in. Embarrassment helps us notice something's not right here. I'm not acting appropriately in this given situation, all right? Helping us to conform to social norms, helping us read the room, see what is going on here, and do I need to adjust my behavior? It also helps us go in and say, I'm not comfortable in a particular situation. You might be that you have gone somewhere and you are behaving outside the norm, the social norms of that collective of people. How do you readjust your behavior so that you don't get embarrassed or be embarrassed for someone? All right. So, like I said, there are no good or bad emotions. It's the way in which we take those emotions and interact. So we've looked a lot at how we identify our own emotions, but there are ways of dealing with people who, if you understand how they are feeling, you're able to adjust and get the best out of them. So that's really important. And we talk about EQ being important for ProQ, for being good leaders, being able to identify and get the best out of your team just by having EQ. So every possible emotions overlap. So you can have joy and sadness, which is melancholy. You could have joy and disgust, which makes it intrigue. There are lots of combinations, and as you grow, when you say, you look at an adult of 35, and I don't know if you've ever come across someone, you go, oh, they're so emotionally immature, right? They haven't identified or come to terms with their emotions, and they'll always be sitting on those baseline emotions, and they will never be able to compute what they're feeling, those complex emotions that people feel, because emotions can be complex. So why is emotional intelligence important? Well, we need to look at ourselves. We need to we spoke about spiritual intelligence, about knowing your purpose, knowing yourself, knowing your feelings. It's about having awareness, self-awareness, all right? In order to manage yourself, manage how you behave, self-control, managing your moods. Just because you have had a really bad morning, everything went wrong. You overslept, you missed breakfast, you were late to take the kids to school, and then you were late to work. And you walk into the office and you snap at a colleague who all they said was good morning. And you go, well, what's so good about this morning? How you regulate your emotions is really important, because how we manage ourselves means how we interact with other people. It means we have that social awareness of having empathy, with connecting with others, with being a resonant leader, with being able to show, I get you, I hear you, I can understand how you're feeling. However, how we handle relationships in general, whether it's in a work situation, whether it's with our partner, whether it's with our children, whether it's with your boss. Learning to regulate your own self will help you manage other relationships. And really, those people that are able to resolve conflicts, your mediators. You always talk about peacekeepers. Peacekeepers in any social situation have a very high emotional intelligence, because they're able to read the two conflicting people and go, let's just calm down a bit. Person A, this is how you're feeling. I hear you. One of the things that we talk about in customer experience and customer management is you've got a very irate customer and they're going off at you, and all you go is, I understand, or I hear you, or thank you for explaining this to me. Let me see how I can help you. Sometimes that complaint, that 10-minute tirade that they had, all they want is to speak to a person that understands how frustrated or annoyed that they are. All right. That is emotional intelligence. That is about identifying the person's emotions and seeing how you can either calm those heightened emotions down, or you can use it to motivate someone to do something for you. All right. How to get the best out of your team. Being emotionally intelligent will help you on that. So self-awareness, you're able to read and understand emotions, as well as recognize the impact on others' work or performance. Accurate self-assessment, you're able to realistically evaluate your own strengths and weaknesses. Again, spiritual intelligence, emotional intelligence, a lot of reflection. Do I blow up? Do I have a short temper? Or am I constantly a negative Nelly? Do people like run away from me when I start complaining, because they think, here she goes again. She's going to complain about something. It also helps with your self-confidence. Do you have a positive and strong sense of self-worth? You get some people that walk into a room, or every engagement that you have with them are just a ball of sunshine. And you think to yourself, how are you so happy so early in the morning? Or how are you constantly happy all the time? Or you're always so positive. Why? How? It's about recognizing, and people who are more confident are usually more happy, are usually have a positive outlook. They have a strong sense of self-worth. They know who they are. They're not lying about who they are. This is me. This is how I interact. This is how I deal with the world out there, because I know who I am and I know my self-worth. All right. Self-management, really important. And I'm not going to go into all of this detail, but it's all about being authentic. You want to, and we talk about authenticity in ProQ as well, because people can spot a bluffer. People can spot someone who's disingenuous. The grifters of the world, the people that are all talk and no action. It's really important to have that self-management. Do I do what I say, or are you one of those people do as I say, not as I do? Your actions must reflect what you are saying, what you are feeling. If you say to people, "Oh, I'm very empathetic. I love being able to be there. I'm a good listener," and someone comes to you with a problem, and you go, "Okay, I'll sort it. Tell me, put it in an email. I'll read through it," or something as simple as, "How often do you guys do you go, 'How are you?'" You ask someone, "How are you?" Now, do you really want to know how that person is? Or are you saying, "How are you?" as a social nicety because you've been trained to say, "Hello, how are you?" Now, someone with emotional intelligence, or someone with a high degree of compassion and empathy, someone who has a high level of spiritual intelligence, will ask you, "How are you?" and be willing to listen and hear exactly how you're feeling. Do you feel comfortable saying to that person, "Well, this is what happened. Oh, I'm having a great day," or, "No, I'm actually not having such a good day today. Today was hard." And they'll listen to why today was hard for you. That is having a high degree of spiritual and emotional intelligence. Okay. Your emotional intelligence will help you with your relationship management. People who are inspirational leaders have a very high level of emotional intelligence because they're able to take emotions of others and lead them using those emotions. They love developing others. They're able to influence people. They know how to get the best out of certain team members purely based on how they respond to different emotions. They're able to use emotions as a change catalyst. I spoke about conflict resolution. They're also able to use emotions as building bonds for different people, for different relationships. And they're able to get people to collaborate, having a high level of emotional intelligence. So how do you break through the cycle of negative emotions? I said to you, no emotion is good or bad, but when you constantly have the same emotion over and over again, and your outward actions are having an impact, you need to identify what you're feeling, right? Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? What is this feeling? I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling melancholy, or I'm feeling depressed. My sadness has gone through, I'm constantly feeling sad, I'm now depressed. And analyze the root cause of your feelings. Again, self-reflection, a lot of honesty. This will help you break through the cycle of negativity. Well, why am I feeling sad? Well, maybe because I've lost my passion for something. I don't feel passionate about doing it anymore. I'm sad about this. I feel like I don't want to do this anymore. Why? Being able to break through that negative emotion is really important. And again, for procrastinators, if you find yourself constantly procrastinating, doing this exercise and identifying what are you feeling exactly? Why am I feeling this? I'm fearful, I'm anxious, I'm whatever it is. You're then able to break the cycle of negative emotions by putting into place certain steps that you can take to break out, to stop feeling anxious. Well, I'd feel less anxious if I was more prepared. What do I need to do to get more prepared? I've got an answer. I've got a plan in place. I've got a goal and I've got a plan. And I hope that you can see I'm constantly referring to IQ, EQ, and SQ. And next week, when we talk about the other quotients as well, they're all interlinked. They don't exist in little silos. Everything has a play. Your emotional intelligence has an effect on your financial intelligence, because some people are emotional buyers. I'm sad. I'm going to go comfort buy. I'm going to go shopping to make myself feel better. And sometimes that can be a bad thing, because now you've blown your budget. So what the benefits of emotional intelligence? Why do we do it? It boosts your performance. It helps you with conflict resolution. If you are in the service industry, it helps you with customer satisfaction. If you're in the HR industry, HR field, it helps you with employee engagement. It helps you be a better team leader. It helps you be a better employee as well. You can often manage up if you have a strong emotional intelligence. You can manage your managers just by using emotional intelligence. It helps you be an effective leader, and it improves your overall well-being. Being able to identify your emotions will improve your own overall well-being. So that leaves me at the end of emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence, and we've covered your IQ as well. I've given you a lot of information tonight. We've thrown a lot of concepts at you. I'm going to take the last 10 minutes just to go over a couple of things, because I've seen in the Q&A there's a lot of questions around the POE. There's a lot of questions around the portal, where do I find content, all of this kind of stuff. I will take you through next week. So do not feel anxious. Do not feel fearful. I will take you through every step that you need for personal mastery. I will show you how to navigate. I will show you where to find the different things and the different content. It will all be up by next week so that you can go through it. We have specifically not put it up tonight because I don't want you spoiler alerts. We don't want any spoiler alerts. Tonight has been your very extended trailer. It's your special edition trailer. Okay. We want you to go through this journey. We've put a lot of information. We've given you a lot of information. What I want you to do between today and next week, Monday, is to think about things that we've spoken about tonight. Maybe you can rewatch the recording when it gets put up. You'll see cycle 3 under general. You'll see the class recordings, same place that you found the link for tonight. All right. As soon as this video has been edited, we will post it up on ReGenesys in your personal mastery module. And I want you to think about the purpose. I want you to take this next week and think about your why. Think about your purpose. All right. I also want you to think, maybe start formulating goals that you have for all the different quotients. I want to be a better student. I want to be more well-read. So one of my goals is to read a book a month. Think about the goals that you might have around spiritual intelligence. Well, I want to take up meditation. I'm constantly anxious. I need to take up meditation or mindfulness or yoga. In terms of my emotional intelligence, I'm constantly negative. I'm always complaining about something. I'm only seeing the negative aspect of any given situation. I live to complain. Well, maybe take this time and think about how you want to grow emotionally, how you deal with others, how you interact with others, how you engage. And take this time now to do some self-reflection. Think about why you are doing what you are doing. What is your intrinsic motivating factor for everything you do in life, right? And that is not your homework. It's your spark, hopefully, that we've ignited as we begin this journey of personal mastery. Lisa, do you want to have a few words before we end off?
Yes, I just want to also say, please, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We are looking at them. We also just want to say thank you to you guys. I know we've had a lot of difficulties. There's been some technical difficulties. Thank you for your patience, but also thank you for joining us tonight. We also learn from all of these experiences. Melissa and I and the team will also go back and we'll look where we can also improve. And we really do want you to do well at ReGenesys. And that's why we like to start off with the personal mastery module, because often we don't actually know where to start. And I hope tonight that we've given you some things to think about. You've had a lot on your mind. You've had orientation, you have classes starting. Some of you are panicking that you're not getting into the system. Take deep breaths. Remember to talk to your SRM, which is your senior relationship manager, your person in customer relations. They have your welcome pack. They can direct you. Don't worry. Your material's not going to disappear from the system. We promise you it's there. We will make sure next week that we take a detailed I'd say journey. Let's say journey through it. Melissa likes to walk you through it. She will be very patient. She will go back and forth through it, but we will show you very step by step. You have no reason to be anxious. So as you go this week, reflect on what Melissa's told you. Reflect on what I said about SMART goals. Think about your emotional quotient. Remember, one of your ways that you can actually practice emotional quotient is how you respond to different things that are going to happen during your journey, during your academic journey. And you will go through all those inside out two emotions. We go through them as well, but embrace it and take it for what it is, that we really, really want you to give you this mechanism, this tool to assist you in growing, because that's what we're after, personal growth. You don't even have to believe in the whole module, but give us a chance and see how it changes your life. And we are excited because next week, next Monday, we're going to do the next 3 quotients, which are the physical quotient, the financial quotient, and the pro quotient, which is a term that we've termed here at ReGenesys, and it has all to do about getting work ready, which we all need to be reminded of. You guys have been fantastic. You've been very patient. And thank you for giving your time, because I know you have a lot of other things you could be doing. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of the whole personal mastery team and the learning and teaching team. Thank you for always just showing up. And if I could just say, please be here next week. Please tell your friends about it. If they've missed the things, as we said, we'll have recordings for you, but we will make sure that you can get access to it. And really, we are here to serve you, and we just thank you for always helping us. And to Melissa, my partner in crime, thank you for your presentations. Always lovely listening to you. So you know what? I'm going to say that's all from my side. I don't know if there's anybody that has anything dying on their
I just looked at the Q&A, Lisa. I just wanted to clarify something. Someone's asked, how do the cycles work? Why are we starting with cycle 3? Does cycle 2 come next? So no, we call them cycles because it was literally the cycles of students that they've gone through. You are the 3rd group that is doing personal mastery. And that's why when I say cycle 3 is intake 5 from last year. So if you joined in October 2024, as well as the January students for 2025, you are known as cycle 3. Students that started in the beginning of the year, last year, with personal mastery, they're the cycle 1 students, and cycle 2 were the ones who joined in the middle of the year, and now you guys are cycle 3. So we've been through 3 cycles of personal mastery as a formal module in ReGenesys. You'll often find, if you go back to some of the older students, if you speak to some of our existing students, they've had classes like spiritual and emotional intelligence, or they've had classes like conscious leadership, conflict and conflict resolution, and all of these things are all pockets of personal mastery. You'll see on ACE that there's different things, that different workshops about mindfulness. Those are all aspects of personal mastery. And what I've found is are so passionate about is putting this all together in one package where you're able to, instead of learning in pockets, put it all together. Your golden thread is personal mastery. The reason why you're at ReGenesys is because you want to awaken your potential. And this is what personal mastery is. It's about awakening your potential. It's about making you the best version of you that you can be. It's about putting in the work. And like I said in the beginning, how much work you put into this course will determine how much growth you will see as in yourself. All right. We're not doing it for us. You're not doing this for me. You're not doing this for your family. You're not doing this for anybody else but you. Do you want to see growth in yourself? And I'm going to end off by saying we all want to improve ourselves. There is always something in us that goes, I could be better at. I could be healthier. I could be whatever. I could be richer. I could be slimmer. I could be more muscular. I could be healthier. I could be cleverer. Whatever it is that you would like to see your growth in. And maybe that's what also you can have a think about this week is, where do I want to improve? What areas do I want to improve in? And maybe just jot that down. It's a really good exercise to go, where can I improve? Okay, so have a think about that. While someone's asked what time next week, same time, different link. So 5:30 next week, Monday. You will see the link on ReGenesys. And on that note, I wish you all good night.
I have one more thing. Sorry.
Go, Lisa.
I don't know. Some places got something, I don't know, a little confused. You do not have any assignments due next week on the 21st, anytime soon. But the personal mastery journey, as I explained, is 6 months. So stop panicking. Stop having that anxiety. I don't remember that little funny guy that has that really, don't be anxious.
Frazzled.
Harold, whatever, don't be anxious. And I really mean that. You do not have any assignments. You have not missed anything in personal mastery.
We will give you for personal mastery.
There's no test for personal mastery. It's a portfolio of evidence, and a portfolio is just that. It shows us evidence of what you've done. And I'm going to say it one more time, because there are some studious students here, which I'm very grateful, which you will do very well in your other courses. Your reflective essay is a reflective essay. It's personal. It is not, it has to have the right settings, but it's personal. It doesn't have citations, it's personal. Stop being anxious. And that's my goal for you.
No spoilers. We will go through all of this next week with you. So in terms of what work you need to do to put into personal mastery, we will do all of this with you next week. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. And I wish you all the best for your classes. Thank you for staying with us.
Okay.
Have a good
Bye
evening.
for now.
Bye.
Good evening. Bye. Bye.